Welcome back to the Outdoor Dog YouTube channel. I'm Stephanie and this is Peter Pan. This week it has been so hot here in Pennsylvania. One of our days was up to like 100 degrees. Too hot to go hiking. So instead we decided to do a fun project that I'd like to share with you. We made a snuffle mat. For those of you who don't know, a snuffle mat is just a mat that has strips of fleece tied to it that you can hide some treats in for your dog to find. Now, typically a snuffle mat is just one consistent layer of fleece, but we mixed it up a little bit here at Outdoor Dog, and we are going to show you how to make a snuffle mat with 2 different layers of difficulty in one mat. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. There's a couple different ways that you can make a snuffle mat, but you need some sort of base to tie fleece to. I chose to use a sink mat. I would say for some dogs this might not be the best thing to use, because I imagine if your dog's a big chewer, this might not hold up. You can also get these kind of anti-fatigue mats at a home improvement store that are real thick rubber that have holes in them that you can tie your fleece to as well. I looked at these. The place that I went that's close to me is a Lowe's. When I went there, it was about $32, and it's a really big mat that can make about 9 different snuffle mats. I do not need 9 different snuffle mats, and this was actually under $5. I think it was $4.80 some cents. So I decided to go this route. I have seen people make it out of cardboard. However, dear Peter drools quite a bit, so I didn't think that the cardboard was a good choice. I figured it would get yucky, and you probably can't throw that in the washer. So we're not going to go that route. Next, the fleece. For your fleece, you don't want something too heavy because you need to be able to feed it through those holes in your mat and tie it. For our mat, for Peter, I decided to use the Outdoor Dog colors, the green, gray, and black that you see on the website. And I got a yard each of each color. You don't necessarily have to use any specific colors. You can definitely check out the clearance section of your craft store and pick whatever happens to be on sale. Now we're going to move on to the process of how to make a mat with 2 different layers of difficulty. What I did was I cut my strips of fleece to about 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide. I also made them about 8 to 9 inches long. This is a little bit longer than some people recommend. However, I used a square knot to tie my fleece. Some people just do a quick knot like you would start with to tie your shoes. However, dear Peter can untie knots. So I wanted to make sure it was a square knot, would hopefully be a little bit harder for him to undo so he doesn't get the fleece off the mat by accident. Once you've cut your strips of fleece and now you're ready to tie it to your mat, this is where that difference in difficulty comes in. So when I was looking at my mat, I have circles with the holes, and I can tie it so that there are 6 different strips of fleece on that circle, or I can tie it so that there's 4 different strips of fleece in that circle. So my more difficult side of the mat is the one that's going to have 6 strips of fleece. It's just going to have more strips so that it's a little bit tighter, it's a little bit thicker, so it's harder for the dog to get the treat out. I started with the thicker side first because it is a little bit difficult at times to get that fleece through when there's so much there. what I did is I took about 1/3 of the mat and made it a little thicker. Once I was done with that 1/3 of the mat that was thicker, I moved on to the easier side, where I just tied 4 strips of fleece to that circle. I did this for the rest of the mat, and that created a little bit looser of a feel to it. The treats still can't go down through my mat and fall out the bottom, but the fleece isn't quite as tight together, so the dog should be easily able to move those strips of fleece in order to find the treat. All right, guys, so here's our finished product. We have one section that the dog can get treats out of fairly easily, and then we have a thicker section that's a lot more challenging for our dogs. What you'll want to do when you introduce this to your dog is use the easy portion first and just drop treats on top. Slowly, you can progress to actually hiding the treats in the fleece, and then eventually hiding the treats in the more difficult part. As always, with any enrichment activity, please supervise your dog. This can get really smelly with lots of good treat smells in it, and we don't want your dog chewing it and ingesting fleece or ingesting pieces of the mat. At the same time, it's important to keep it away from your dog when they're not using it, just so they don't get it and start chewing on it when you weren't anticipating that to happen. So keep it away and away from your dog when it's not in use. I hope you guys enjoy making your Snuffle mats and watching your dog enjoy them as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.